What is up, guys? Team KNL here, Kai, giving you a new segment that I'm going to be calling Enemies of the Format. And before I start, forgive me for having not uploaded videos for a little while. I'm just now returning back to school, and that stuff can get crazy, like all the menial paperwork and whatnot. So you'll have to excuse me for not uploading for that. But pretty much we're going to be discussing about enemies of the format and how tech that you can either main or side in order to combat these threats to your potential deck or the meta, depending on what you're trying to do. So first off, for the first segment, we're gonna be talking about Thunder King, and Thunder King is returning back stronger than ever due to synchros potentially coming back due to Spore being unbanned and the plant engine now being somewhat viable, as well as the Exceed mechanic is just getting crazier and crazier. So Thunder King is still going to be a really solid option going in, and Injectors are down, and pretty much that was the only real reason why Thunder King stopped being played, because Injectors pretty much sealed the deal when you had Thunder King on the field. So pretty much since Injectors are now gone, you can now main deck Thunder King to safely negate your opponent's synchros and inherent special summons and whatnot. And so let's talk about some of the first cards. So most of these aren't tech, obviously. Some of you already probably mainboard them, but let's talk about Snow Meat Eater first. So first off, the most unique thing about him is that he's a water debris dragon target. So you can make Gungnir out of him, and after you get some use out of him, and still, you know, manage to pop some more stuff on the field with Gungnir. So that's good. And then he has a 1900 body, which Thunder King can't run over without the help of various attack boosting cards that isn't commonly run, but even still. So pretty much he's going to be, if Thunder King attacks him while he's face down, he's going to survive, and Thunder King is it. That's as simple as that. And then since he has a high defense, he can convert that card advantage into actual damage, since you can make a Leviathan and then just punch for damage. So that's really good. And downside, probably the only downside would be that he has no real synergy with lights and darks. The only real commonly played boss monsters. So probably the only boss monster that you could probably have synergy with is Mulan Glace, and that isn't out yet. So yeah, and then probably the only other one would be that his effect is mandatory. So if he's the only monster on the field that you set that is on the field, you don't want to flip summon him, because he's going to have to his effect is going to activate, and he's going to have to destroy himself, because his effect is mandatory, and it doesn't matter what monster he destroys. He has to destroy a monster. So that's Snow Meat Eater. Rai-Oh. First off, Rai-Oh is really good because he's searchable, except when Thunder King's on the field, obviously, but he's searchable by not only Sangan, which these two can also be searched by Sangan, but he can also be searched with Charge of the Light Brigade, which adds to your milling engine depending on whether you want to mill or not. But he does mill, which is good and or bad depending on what deck you're playing. But he does mill, so he can potentially speed up your deck / get rid of unwanted cards and set up your graveyard for chaos play. So that's really good. And probably and he's a light, so if you really needed to, you can you can have that surprise factor with Honest. So that's always there. And pretty much his main downfall is that he has a really small body, so pretty much anything can run him over. And he's a level 2, so if he does somehow manage to stay on the field, he's not going to have very many synergistic plays in terms of exceeds. You can still synchro with him, but that's really difficult outside of a junk doppel play. So next we have Night Assailant. Probably his most redeeming factor is the fact that he is a tour guide target, and it's either him or Dark Mimic, and well, it's either him, Dark Mimic, or Torbus, and I think more people would rather have a good standalone monster that they can just set and, you know, destroy a monster or whatever, than have to wait for the monster to be destroyed by battle for you to draw a card, or for it to have some dominial effect of returning a card from your deck, from either player's graveyard to the deck. So that's that. And he's also a dark, which these two are not, so that is perhaps another reason to play him. And he is a tour guide target, so he's easy to get out. Excuse me. And for cons, he has a small body like Rai-Oh, so he's not going to be surviving too much. And when you summon him with tour guide, you can't like thousand like you would with Sangan or another tour guide in order to protect yourself from Leviathan or from Gores. So you kind of have to exceed if you want to inflict any real life point damage with this guy. You can inflict a perfectly good amount of card advantage due to his secondary effect, but that's besides the point. So that's that for pretty much your set monster category. And then for inherent special summoners, we have Cyber Dragon and Photon Thrasher. So let's talk about Sidra first. So Sidra, he's always been, in my opinion, a near staple in your side deck because of he's always really good against hero matchup, which the heroes are always going to be around for the time being, and they always have been around. So Sidra is always really good against them, and heroes play Thunder King sometimes. If you're playing Hero Beat, then Sidra is a really solid choice against them. And pretty much he can also scoop up your opponent's other machine type monsters that they leave on the field, such as their wind-up Zenmanes or Geargias and gadget monsters and whatnot. So you can just suck them up, make a Chimera Tech, and punch him in the face for quite a bit of damage. And his only real downfall is that he's a level 5, so you can't like normal summon him without tributing, or he may have like some awkward, you may not be able to like exceed or awkwardly get him off the field for whatever reason that you may need to. So that's that. And then Photon Thrasher, he's a level 4, which puts him a bit higher over Cyber Dragon because you can use him in exceed play, like special summon, and then summon something else like a Lila, get the +1 off Lila, and then exceed. So that's that. So, and he's a warrior, which means he is searchable, which Sidra is not. And they're both light, so that is somewhat irrelevant. But for cons, the fact that he cannot attack when you have another monster on your side of the field. When you control another monster is kind of demeaning, because that means you can't just poke with him and then poke with another monster and deal some more damage and avoid a Gores or whatever. But and then he can't be normal summoned or set, so that makes sense, because that would be really retarded if you can just normal summon the 21 beater and you know, just start beating face. So that's that. And then for we have spells and traps now. So let's first talk about Dimensional Prison. So Dimensional Prison is really good because it responds to whenever a Thunder King or any other monster, say, declares an attack, and it removes them from play, which is pretty important because it stops them from setting up graveyards and or potential graveyard activating effects, such as like Card Trooper or Sangan, if they are attacking with those cards. So you can also flip it and remove other monsters that your opponent may control that is attacking. Instead, it also gets rid of Stardust, which these two aren't particularly too well at getting rid of Stardust, so that's good. And it's probably, well, it has two drawbacks really. One, it's not chainable, so if they MST it, then it's gone for the most part. So that, and you have to set it, so you have to wait a turn before you can use it. But with however slow this format is going to look as if it's going to be, probably setting it isn't going to matter too much. But triple MST and heavy and a potential triple Night Beam being in the game can be kind of detrimental to any person who may be thinking about using back row. So that's on Dimensional Prison. So Smashing Ground, it does essentially what both of them do. It gets rid of a face-up monster. Their means are different, of course, such as Dimensional Prison and Soul Taker. They choose a target on activation. However, Smashing Ground does not. That is the main reason for why you should keep playing Smashing Ground. Because if they, let's say they have a Thunder King and a Neo-Soleus on the field, so if you activate Smashing Ground, then let's say this is Neo-Soleus. If they activate Smashing Ground, let's say they chain Gemini Spark to destroy a card, Smashing Ground still has to destroy a monster that your opponent controls that's face up with the highest defense. So since Thunder King is the only one on the field now, what would have been Neo-Soleus being destroyed, now Thunder King is the one being destroyed. So that's always good. So pretty much you're always going to be destroying a face-up monster, and if your opponent doesn't have a monster, then he essentially did his job. So pretty much that's it on Smashing Ground. And then for Soul Taker, the reason Soul Taker is good is because he destroys monsters with optional effects. So pretty much he gets rid of Shining, he gets rid of Pulsar as well, and he can do it on your turn when you may need it. So that is the main plus to Smashing Ground and Soul Taker. You don't have to set it or whatever, you just activate it, get Thunder King Rai-Oh off the field, they gain life points, which may or may not matter, and then you just start doing your stuff, and that is perhaps the most important thing. The downside, they gain 1,000 life points, but it depends on how you see it, because if your deck is going to swing for like 28 bajillion damage, I don't think 1,000 is going to save them too much, but then again, however slow this format is, 1,000 may be very crucial to making their Solemn Warning or Solemn Judgment even more live than it was before. So that's that. And then for normal summonable monsters, I guess would be the best way to describe this. So Card Trooper, we all know Card Trooper, and Card Trooper is going to be returning back in full force if it wasn't already, because of plants. They can play Card Trooper as well. So any Chaos Dragon variants are still going to be playing Card Trooper, as well as plants now. So you're more likely to see multiple amounts of Card Troopers, and pretty much when they butt heads with Thunder King, they always win, because both of them get destroyed, but Card Trooper will replace himself, so that is important, and that is a good thing. So, and then we have Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi, pretty much when she's summoned, she just flips a mouse face down, so you flip Thunder King Rai-Oh face down, and then you just punch it. Since Rai-Oh only has 800 defense, which is very menial, and whatnot. So, that is her main plus. I mean, she doesn't make you lose card advantage, she just makes your opponent lose the Thunder King Rai-Oh. And she returns back to your hand during the end phase, so that's that. The only downside to her is, for one, I think she's overhyped personally, because really that's her only, that's the only main use I see her as, to just punch Thunder King Rai-Oh in the face and tell him to shut up. That's really it. That's all I can see her being used as, and she's probably just going to be a side deck once people realize that she's not as great as she was before. Of course, if you're running flip effect monsters, then she's still good, but I mean, really, I don't see her being used any more than just to punch Thunder King Rai-Oh in the face. And also, she and Card Trooper are susceptible to Solemn Warning, so you can essentially just lose out on your plan and just take another Rai-Oh to the face. So it's just personal opinion. So that's some tech cards that I have found to combat the rise in Thunder King again. So tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys have any tech that can get rid of Thunder King? And make sure you tell me, because I'm always looking for new stuff, and if you guys tell me, I'll give you a shout, or I'll give you credit or whatever. So like, rate, comment, and subscribe, and Team KNO out.